Hey there, I thought I'll shoot a quick video because I realized there's one important thing I do in coaching and hypnosis that is beneficial, I feel, for people to share it with. And the idea is basically that of mental positioning. So when you actually look at your ideas, your beliefs about the world, those are mental positions that you have adopted in your way of interacting, of being in this world. And some of them are serving what you want to achieve, and some of them are actually holding you back to achieve what you have set out for. So mental positioning is something that I feel is fairly neutral. You look at what the goal is, what the belief is, and is it actually assisting reaching that goal or not. And so a mental position is always dependent on the context. So for example, if I want to become a millionaire and I'm setting out to do so, yet I have a belief about money, that money is evil, that I have to do dirty deals, that I have to kill people or whatever, or other people have to lose in order for me to gain, then that mental position is a weak position for me to actually support or to reach that goal, because I will at some level have a conflict, an internal conflict inside of thinking, yeah, I want to reach this, but there's all this negative repercussions that come from reaching that goal, right? So when you look at your life and your beliefs, I find it tremendously useful to look more through the lens of mental position instead of facts. This is how the world is. This is how this is the truth, for example. Because when you're going to the direction of this is the truth, this is how the world is, you are locking yourself into a position and you become very inflexible, and hence it will be a lot harder for you to change something. So one important point or one important experience to look out for, to search or to get, either through coaching, through hypnosis, through whatever else there out is, when you live your life, is to actually see that thoughts and ideas about the world are exactly just that. They're thoughts and ideas about the world. They are not the truth. They are not describing the world accurately. They are always a simplification. They're always something that we make up about it. And whatever you think it is not, because the world is a lot more complicated, more complex than just breaking it down into simplistic views. However, those simplistic views are very useful to have. Those simplistic views allow us to navigate through the world. But when we come attached to them and we believe this is reality, this is how the world is, then suddenly we give them more credit and they lose to a certain degree their function, serving us to be in a good state, in being a resourceful state to lead a happy and fulfilling life. So for example, when I was young, well, still young, but when I was like growing up and I was in my teenage years, I had the belief that the world is a bad place, the world is a fucked up place. When you grow up, you have to get a job that you don't like, you have to work for 2 hours a week, you are going to live for the weekend, you're going to live for a vacation, you're going to lead a miserable life. Basically, that's what I thought. And I realized that while some people are leading this kind of life, it is absolutely not what I have to live. It's not what you have to live. You can actually lead a happy and fulfilling life in society and create your niche, create the lifestyle you want to have, and be happy with it. You don't have to resent the system. Now, when I was at that age, I thought this is true, and I would be very good at defending that position. I would show you all kinds of examples that will justify, will verify my position, my belief about the world. And with that, obviously, I would only cement it further in that this is how the world is. Now, over the years, doing Kung Fu, doing martial arts, that brought me more into my body, I started to realize the insanity of the mind and how it can impose on me how I think the world is. So I also got coaching and hypnosis and started to do more hypnosis stuff, and I started to realize how much more flexible it can be, the whole thing. And then I changed it. I started to change how I see the world and start to adopt a much more better worldview that serves me more for my own happiness, for what I want to create, for also actually helping people. Because if I'm miserable, if I'm feeling like the world is against me, I cannot really help people. I'm gonna do the worst work ever. So it's not serving me really, that kind of idea of this is how the world is. However, that kind of positioning of seeing everything dark and in the negative light can be a strong position if the context changes. So for example, if my job is actually to find weaknesses in systems, my job is actually to find weaknesses in ideas, and I'm like the devil's advocate, then the position of actually looking for the negative, looking for the flaws, is really useful. Well, you might get paid for this, you know? So that's something you don't want to like be in the opposite. Then suddenly the position of seeing something through a positive lens and creating a life that you want to live, well, you know, or just seeing always the positive side of a position, suddenly becomes weak because your job is to see the negative. So I hope this gives you an idea or an insight of how the world or how your ideas are influencing you, and how, you know, that you can change it, and that it is always dependent on the context. There's no absolute of like, yes, positive thinking is the thing that you have to adopt. It is absolutely the must go to, or negative thinking is bad and whatever. No, I see it much more flexible. It always depends on the context, it always depends on your goals. And then once you have identified if it's serving you or not, and you've identified, for example, it's not serving you, well, then it's time to change it. Then you can use whatever tool. You can use hypnosis, you can use coaching, if there's even a difference in those two. You can use whatever else there is. You know, if running around naked around your house 3 times will change the belief about something, go ahead, do it. It doesn't really matter, as long as it gets the job done. Anyways, hope you're enjoying your day, and I will record another video when I have another idea.